Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Updates. We've got some breaking news out of Kings Island, where this past weekend a very interesting sign went up in the park, along with an interesting display. And we have since learned through the park's Twitter that indeed one of the 16 roller coasters, they did say 16, didn't they?
Yeah, I believe they did.
They said 16. I just like to check every now and then on their numbers because they do count pipe scream, or they used to on their website.
Well, they're probably taking out pipe scream to resolve this controversy.
Well, they did say 16 again. So for all those who are questioning if Surf Dog is a roller coaster, they are indeed counting it here today. So one of their 16 roller coasters is coming out now, Danny. There's a whole lot of speculation going on here, and I don't quite know if we need all this speculation because there were other rumors going around earlier this season that said Firehawk wasn't long for this world. But
did we talk about that on a previous update?
I don't know if we did.
I think we mentioned it when we were talking about the whole racer thing a while back.
I heard it, early on, or not early on, but probably about mid to late season. I heard that Firehawk may not be returning, not next year, but the year after, that they were going to give it a whole nother season, that Vekoma wasn't supposedly, supporting it with parts anymore.
Which was also the explanation for Batwing being closed for extended amounts of time. We know that Nighthawk has always had problems down at Carowinds.
And Batwing even opened yet? Because I know Batwing was closed forever. I don't know if it reopened.
I don't know. I mean, we've been hearing the rumblings of the Firehawk removal. Firehawk has been the one that we've heard about the rumblings of the removal. We knew that Batwing was down for an extended time, and I'm stalling right now as I go on the Six Flags America website. Nighthawk has always had its ups and downs at different times.
And then also, if you think about it, Stinger closed at Dorney, one of the Vekoma inverted boomerangs.
Batwing is still listed as closed for the season on the Six Flags America site.
There you go. So I just feel that the rumor was that Vekoma is no longer supporting some of their old coaster models with parts, and parts are in tough supply. So I'm guessing that Stinger was closed maybe to support Invertigo
yeah.
at Kings Island, and then it would reason then Firehawk is going to close to support Nighthawks. And to me, Danny, I don't know. I think Nighthawk is more important to Carowinds than Firehawk is to Kings Island.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Although I think Firehawk is the better ride. I think the two newer ones, Firehawk and Batwing, are a little bit smoother than Nighthawk. They have the dual loading stations, so in theory, the capacity is a little better. However, that also means they require more staffing because you need employees on both sides of the station. So I can kind of see both arguments to that. Firehawk has always been a fairly popular ride in terms of the line it has, and that could be part of the popularity, but that could also be just the capacity. So I don't know about this one. The selfish part of me is, just a tad bit upset because Firehawk was my 100th coaster, and that's what started the whole airbrush T-shirt thing, because I really liked the logo that they had there. So the selfish part of me wants to see Firehawk stay. I've always really liked the Dutchman coasters. I know that I'm in the minority there, though. I think enough people enjoy them, but enough people don't enjoy them. So it's kind of one of those, I think it's kind of split 50-50, maybe leaning slightly towards more people don't enjoy them.
See, I've never really felt safe on the Dutchmans. Like I've had some rides I was like, this doesn't feel all too secure on me. I remember on Batwing being out there in 115-degree heat, and the restraints were so sweaty, and I was sweaty, and I felt like I was going to slip right out of it. Like, it was ridiculous. And I've never really enjoyed the Dutchmans. I feel that the B&M Flyers are better.
Oh, absolutely.
I think most people say that. So there's like, and I just feel that the restraints in the whole system is a little bit better. I know, laying on your back is probably the more preferable position than, hanging forward, like on the B&Ms, but that just comes with the course sometimes. I guess, some other people are throwing out things out there that some people are saying Vortex is closing. That's been a rumor for a long time. I don't know.
This is my only thought really on the little sign that go up. It said that let's see, what did it say here? I got to bring it back up now. The sign says, "The air is eerily calm as we make final preparations for the ill-fated demise of one of our own." And I thought about what that means, because that phrasing seems a little bit too prepared to not mean anything. The demise of one of our own. Why would you phrase that way? I don't know why you would phrase that way. And the only and again, this is me selfishly trying to find a reason to convince myself that it's not going to be Firehawk, because I'd like Firehawk to stay. One of our own. Firehawk is not one of their own. If you think about it a certain way, Firehawk came from Geauga Lake, which was Six Flags Worlds of Adventure in Six Flags, Ohio. It was Six Flags when it was installed. So if you really think about it, Firehawk was not one of theirs. It came from somewhere else. Now, I don't know if that's because Mean Streak went away and Kings Island is just saying, oh, one of our rides is closing too. If they're kind of, and, Twisted Timbers, if they're kind of going it from that approach and saying, oh, we're closing one of our rides. Or if there really is more meaning than one of our own, meaning like an original ride to Kings Island, in which case, if that's what it means, and it is a coaster, then maybe you look at Vortex, I think. Maybe you look at the Bat. The Bat is in a weird, out-of-the-way place. The ridership is incredibly low except for the busiest of days. It's kind of hidden back there. I hope it's not the Bat, but if they're gonna take out a ride, I'd probably prefer it to be Vortex out of those three rides.
Well, and there's also
but the suspended coasters are a dying breed as well, so I don't know.
Well, there's also in Vertigo too, where they took out the one at Dorney, so it would reason that hey, they're no longer supporting that coaster type. It's the last one in the chain now. So is that one going to go? And then there's always back to the original. If you want to take it all the way back to Racer, I don't think that that's what's happening, but there's still the question marks left by what happened this season at Kings Island and all this people spotted in and around Racer. Are they going to go RMC with it? And they're doing it, looks like, a funeral like they did for Mean Streak. So we're going to find out this week. So they did say that by the end of this week, we will know what coaster it is. There's a little bit of a backlash for why they're not allowing final rides on stuff. And it seems like then the funeral for the ride, the official closing, is going to be on the 28th. So you'll at least get your chances to ride whatever this ride is. I still think it's Firehawk. We heard the rumors.
Yeah, I think Firehawk is the most likely answer here. Like I said, I keep trying to find ways to convince myself that it's not going to be Firehawk because I'd like to see Firehawk stay. And
I think the question also becomes...
The problem with Racer is, so if it's Racer, it's not a 2019 thing.
No.
Because it's too late and they've already announced 2019. So it would have to be a 2020 thing. And then we get into the whole discussion of whether or not B&M is actually building something in 2020. And that brings me to this point. I asked you this morning when we were texting about it. Would they be crazy enough to tear out the Vekoma flyer and build a B&M flyer in its place?
I'll tell you what, there will be people up in arms because
I know there will be, but
everyone's been talking about the Kings Island Giga for the last, 5 years. And we are like I said, like we said on that show, we are the closest now than we've ever been to actually realizing a B&M Giga Coaster at Kings Island. And now we get this, and it's like, are they just tearing it out to use that space? Because that's going to be a real nice location for a station. You revitalize that whole X Space area. It allows for other things to start happening back there too.
And I'll be honest here, the Firehawk actually fit real nicely there in terms of the loose theming that you're trying to pull off there with like the military base type of thing, between Flight of Fear and Firehawk. So a flying coaster with some sort of military theme actually does fit quite well there. I could see them. Boy, you could maybe even do a wing coaster of sorts and do like the whole X-Flight type of thing.
You are sending people off the side.
And there's a connection to Firehawk's original name, X-Flight, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff going on here. I think Firehawk is the most likely answer, and I don't know what it would be for.
I also think a Giga is still the most likely answer, but yes. I think there's a lot of thought here now, a lot of cause for concern. For fans of Kings Island, one, if you love Firehawk, it looks like you might be, in the disappointment category very soon. And now there's a lot of question marks next to this Kings Island Giga that until we start seeing a real teaser campaign, hopefully next season at some point, until we start seeing that, like, it's going to be a long off season for a lot of folks down there in Mason, Ohio.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be real interesting. And then, you get to enjoy your antique cars for 8 months and then, hopefully see what happens in 2020. But I think there's a lot of possibilities, but I think we're still zeroing in on the most likely answers here. But I think the door is still open for a lot of different things. We'll find out sometime this week exactly what's happening, at least in terms of what ride is leaving, but it's gonna be quite a while before we get all the answers.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will come back to you at the end of this week when we get this announcement. We might not be right on board because I'm going places. You're not going anywhere. I'm going to Cedar Point this weekend. So
yeah, my season's pretty much done with the Hallow Scream Tampa and SeaWorld this past weekend. But I got quite a couple of local haunts.
Yeah, I've got quite a few more trips that left in me here. So
yeah, you've got big ones coming up. I'll be doing Phoenix Fall Fun Fest as always in 2 weeks, and probably be stopping in at Dorney. Might try and squeeze Lake Compounds in there and maybe a Hershey Park, but mostly local stuff here as we get into the haunt season and ride closing and funeral season.
Well, hey, keep us talking about something, right? So as always, thank you for joining us here on COASTER.net Update. I'm of course Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York.
Right on, Ride Warriors.
See you guys.